Like I already know how this is gonna end. This is I don't know, bro. Joe Shiesty, bro. He a different animal because if they wanted to grind it out, you know what I'm saying, and make it one of those games, the Bengals is all for that. If they want to get into a shootout, the Bengals by far have the ability to do that. Because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, all right, they gang up on Jamar Chase. They take Jamar Chase away. We've seen that movie before. T. Higgins is gonna go for 11, 185, and two TDs. You know what I'm saying? There's no way you stop both of them. And then you got Tyler Boyd, in the slot, moving the chains, and then Hayden Hurst, you know, that's a big white boy. You know what I'm saying? Moving the chains. If there's some kind of way you can suppress the ability for them to be efficient through the air, you still have a Pro Bowl running back you're handing the ball off to. You know what
And
I'm
then
saying?
Samaje
So,
Perine ain't no
Perine
hope.
ain't no, yeah, Samaje Perine ain't no hoe either. He's one of the better backup running backs in the league. So
Welcome in to Stand Bounds, the sports podcast of the people. I'm your host, Corey P, here alongside Kawal. How you doing, bro?
good, man. I'm happy to be back. Glad to be shooting some podcasts. Championship weekend is upon us. We're missing one of our boys. He's at a hockey tournament.
Yeah,
But we ain't gonna get into all that.
yeah,
But
a hockey tournament or the Bills let me down tournament. I don't know.
he's somewhere thinking about it. He's somewhere thinking about it.
Yeah, bro, the freaking championship weekend. We had a lot going on last week in order to get here, bro. So maybe we should just talk about it, right? Maybe we should
So
just.
you wanna recap what happened last week and then just jump into who actually made it.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Let's get into it. So on in the AFC side,
Let's start with the NFC. Start the NFC.
let's start
Say
NFC. All right,
yeah,
definitely,
NFC,
definitely,
NFC.
definitely. So in the NFC, what we have the Eagles beat the Giants, and the 49ers beat the Cowboys. All right, let's start with this Eagles Giants game. What you thinking about this?
I didn't even watch it, bro. That was an ass whooping.
Yo,
If
that
there ever
game,
was.
that
That
game
was an
was
ass
over
whooping.
before the half.
That it was over like after the first quarter.
Yeah,
Like the
like
game started and the Eagles scored their first drive. I was like, okay, let's see what the Giants do. I kid you not. Like I clicked away on my phone and I went to check in on one of the other games or something was finishing up and I come back, it's like 21 zip. I'm like, damn. Like because the only way the Giants were gonna like hang in that game was if they could get stops on defense,
yeah,
because if it was gonna get into a shootout, there was no way in hell they was gonna beat them, you know. And
not
it just
definitely.
it just
That's
kind
right.
of showed like, you know, I'm glad they got as far as they did. They didn't just get to the playoffs and get bounced. They actually won a playoff game, so they can like build on that. But they wasn't beating the Eagles, bro. There's way too much talent on both sides of the ball for Daniel Jones and company to try and overcome that. It's just too much. It was a lot to ask. It was a tall task, and when you don't really have like a receiver, you can really like lean on like a stud receiver. You got the guy that you're paying like a stud who's not even playing. You got two guys that you found off the practice squad and Slayton they had buried at the bottom of their bench to start the season. So they got as far as most were expecting. I think they might have had a better shot if they got matched up with the Cowboys last round. You know what I'm saying? It could be the Giants versus the Eagles in the championship game, but that's ain't how it shake out. But yeah, I don't know. The Eagles look dominant in that one, like dominant.
Yeah, like when you're depending on Saquon Barkley to break 10 tackles in order to get to an end zone, you can't do anything to get them off of them where like you can run a play action or whatever because they don't have respect for your
That's what I'm
work.
saying. He's making like he's making two dudes miss in the backfield before he even starts the designed run he's supposed to be running. You
Fact.
know,
And it seemed like Jalen Hurts stayed pretty clean that full game. Like they wasn't getting to they wasn't rushing the passer. You know, AJ Brown obviously a number one. That game was just not the game for the Giants. I feel like the Giants
It's a
got a lot to
bad. It's
build
a
on going into next year.
yeah. There's a lot to build on that one. You're gonna have to make some moves. That defense is opportunistic. You know what I'm saying? They play well. But the offense needs a little retweaking.
Yeah,
Not so much retweaking. They just need to add some talent to it. Add some more playmakers because I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Yeah, Daniel Jones had a great season, but they did a lot of protecting to hide his inefficiencies. They didn't make him throw over 20 passes, in most games this year. He got a lot done with his legs, and Saquon had a superstar season like we was all expecting. But in games like that, when you get down early, I mean, you could run the ball, but when you run the ball, you know what I'm saying, that clock's ticking. So, you
moving.
know, as much time you're gonna burn trying to get 20 30 yards on the ground, you can get that in one throw. So
Yeah,
they're gonna have to get in the lab with him, get him throwing, get his confidence up because they're gonna re-sign him. We've seen what a competent quarterback can do in a system offense. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna bring him back. At what price tag, I don't know. I hope he gets whatever he wants because if they don't give it to him, somebody else will. And then they gotta bring Saquon back
yeah,
too. So their ability to sign playmakers this offseason is going to be limited. But this is kind of a weak free agent class anyway.
yeah.
But things always arise during on draft night. You never know.
They definitely figured out their coach for the future. So I mean, at this point, it's just about getting the pieces in. Getting a wide receiver. Who knows? Maybe this might be the opening for Odell to come back. I mean, we'll see. All right. So in the other game, we had the 49ers versus the Cowboys. How you feel about that game?
I ain't lie, bro. I actually I'm not a Cowboys fan by a long shot, but I thought they would have, shocked the world per se. You know what I'm saying? And beat them because I figured the same thing in the last game. Like it was a wash. Not the last game, but the last game the Dallas Cowboys played, it was a wash on defense, and it was going to be who could score more points. You know what I'm saying? I thought, it'd be the same thing. It'd be a wash on defense. You know what I'm saying? Both teams are going to make plays on defense, but I thought the Cowboys, would maybe have more continuity with the amount of years this group has spent together, along with like Dak, Zeke, Pollard. Pollard got hurt early, so that fast of the game was taken away. But I don't know, man. San Francisco, they just get it done, bro. They just and that defense is like, I mean, outside of Jody Bosa and Fred Warner, like, I mean, these are guys they've built in the draft, and guys they've signed from off the street, and have turned them into a collective unit of just ballers. That's
Yeah.
what they do. They all just ball. They just I don't know. It's tough to go up against a team like that. When you playing against a defense that feels like they're playing with house money and they ain't got nothing to lose. When they've been one of the best units in the entire league all year, it's hard to overcome that because they got each other's back. If one dude makes a play on the ball and misses, there's gonna be somebody right there. You know what I'm saying? To make the tackle.
Yeah, so on my four picks last week for the games that we had last week, that was the only game I got wrong. I thought the Cowboys would win this. I thought the
Me
Cowboys
too.
would
I
upset.
thought this. I thought this was their year. Not their year. I thought they would at least get the championship game.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I thought this was the one. I was surprised.
yeah,
I,
and the
I
way
was
it
really
happened, I
surprised.
think so. So there's been a lot of like talk, even in some of our group chats about Dak. Where are we ranking Dak? Do you feel like Dak is a top 10 quarterback? Do you feel like what were you thinking about Dak right now?
I mean, compared to the rest of the talent pool, you have to put him in there in the top 10 quarterback. Cause yeah, I mean, we know dudes like this in the NBA that don't show up when the games matter, but they cook all regular season. You know what I'm saying? He's one of them dudes that put up good stats, get your team in a position to make a run, but he just ain't the guy that can bring them all the way. And because the turnovers that he makes they're like detrimental turnovers. Everybody throws picks, everybody fumbles, everybody makes turnovers, but his are highlighted so much because one, he plays for the Cowboys. Two, he has one of the most outspoken owners in the league that hypes him up every offseason. So everything he does is in the spotlight. So if he throws a pick, it's a lot bigger deal if Jalen Hurts throws a pick because Jalen Hurts throws a pick, but they're still up 45-17. You know what I'm saying? Dak throws a pick. I mean, it's always like when the game is on the line and like they need this drive. You know what I'm saying? And it's demoralizing for your defense. When you go out there and you get the stops that you need, and the offense goes out there and turns the ball over, and you got to go right back out there again. You got to stop George Kittle, Brent Ayuk, Debo, Christian McCaffrey. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's demoralizing. So it's. I mean, in a nutshell, yeah, Dak is a top 10 quarterback because I mean, you put Dak on some of these other teams that are struggling that don't have a quarterback or whatever like that, the offensive numbers go up. It's not like he's holding the team back. He's not the only reason why they lost that game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think yeah, Dak is a top 10 quarterback for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. I feel like so. I think I said the other day, basically, that he top 10 by default because you had the normal like the Brady's, the who else did I say? You had like Brady, you had like Derek Carr, you had like Collar got hurt and stuff. So you had like the normal guys that you already put in the top 10 that make over Dak. Them guys kind of fell off this. Russell Wilson. So with them guys like falling off this year, I feel like that kind of fell in there by default. But at the same time, I don't know. You're right. With these turnovers, Dak gonna have to figure it out because this team is built for right now. Because eventually they're going to pay not T Higgins, CD Lamb. Eventually, I mean, the good news is they're
And
probably
pay it, and when they pay CeeDee Lamb, that's gonna be the nail in the coffin because I mean, this isn't like the other teams that are in the playoffs right now. I mean, outside of like the Chiefs or whatever like that, a lot of these teams in the playoffs right now, they're built on homegrown talent
yeah.
with a good amount of their guys are playing on rookie deals. This Dallas team is it's an older group, but it's an experienced group with a couple young guys mixed in, but everybody's paid on this roster. It's an expensive roster.
I
You know what I'm
mean,
saying?
but the
And you
good
got a
news is
decision.
Zeke gonna
You
get
got
a
a
redshirt
decision.
question.
Yeah, you got a decision you got to make this offseason. Are you keeping Zeke? Are you paying Pollard? Or are you keeping both? Because I mean, Pollard fractured his ankle. Last like this is late in the season, so he may not even be ready for the beginning of the season. So how much money are you willing to invest on? But like you said, one man's trash, another man's treasure. Somebody else may be willing to invest. You know what I'm saying, $11 million and wait for him to come back.
Yeah, I don't
You know
know
what I'm
because
saying?
the thing
But the
people
thing, but the
deal
thing
with
about
is
Pollard is he's more than just a running back. That's why I said someone would probably invest on him. He's kind of like a he's like an Austin Eckler. Like he can get it done on the ground, but dude can go out there and catch 11 passes for 108 yards and 2 TDs too. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different facet of the game that if you have that luxury of having that, it makes a lot easier. You know what I'm
see,
saying?
but Pollard's not an every down back, which we've seen. Like
But
he
you
had
don't
the
need him to be.
numbers,
You don't need him to
but
be
the
an every
thing
down
is,
back.
if you're gonna pay a guy $11 million, he need to be damn near close to an every down back as possible. He can't have the luxury of having 11 to 13 touches a game and you're paying him $11 million. No, he
But
got
it's
to
but
be
it's what
close.
are
He
you?
got to be
But
close to that 18
I
to
know, but
20.
I know his position says that he's a running back. By position, he's a running back. But what are you signing him to come in the door to do? If they're signing Pollard for his pass catching ability at the backfield and his pass blocking, which he's a good pass blocker, you know what I'm saying? Zeke's better than him, but he's competent back there. That's a lot of make or break for some teams is the pass protection with their backs. If you're signing Tony Pollard for the intention of what he can do out the backfield as a pass catcher, then it's a different price tag for his position. He's more like a utility man than he is just a sole running back. And he can get after two
We're
on
not
the ground
gonna do
though.
that, okay? Well,
He-
because
He's he's had he's like games on the ground where he's gotten busy on the ground too. He can get busy.
we're not going to do that, K-Wall, because that's the same thing that the Jets did when they did with Le'Veon Bell.
They did it this year. They signed Brees Hall after they had Michael Carter.
Yeah,
Brees Hall is
but
a better pass catcher. Michael
but
Carter's
no,
the better runner.
they drafted Brees. I'm talking about when they went and got Le'Veon Bell when he left the Steelers and they paid him $13 million a year, and then
Le'Veon Bell was the best back in the league at the
he
time. He has
was
a lot more bargaining chips
he
than
was
Tony
and
Pollard.
he was the best pass blocking running back. He was the best all this shit. Paid him 13 million. He came in and he wasn't that guy no more. So
Because
when
the Jets thing didn't work because for one, it wasn't the right system. You know what I'm saying? They didn't use him properly. And Le'Veon Bell is kind of a patient running back and he lets the play develop. But I mean, from the time you touch the ball, there's two linemen in the backfield. That's not his game making all them dudes miss. He hits the hole and then he goes. You know what I'm saying? That
so
was
to me,
Le'Veon's game. That's why it didn't work out.
That's why Pollard's in his perfect situation where he don't have to be an every down back And he'll probably get like Jerry probably take care of him, give him like 6-7 million a year, and he'll be
with
okay.
him, what's it called? With him fracturing his ankle, yeah, it's gonna hamper his price tag a little bit. Hypothetically speaking, him being a Pro Bowl running back, not playing a full count of snaps every single game, I mean that's pretty damn hard to do at the position, especially in NFC when there's a lot of backs in the NFC too.
Stop it. James Conner did it last year. We're not about to do that.
James Conner had like 20 TDs
Yeah,
last year. That's
but
different.
like
James Conner was eating touchdowns.
that's what
You
I'm
know what I'm
saying.
saying?
It's not that
But
hard. It's not that
I'm
hard to
saying
do.
there's games when Tony Pollard literally put that backfield on his back. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Whether it was on the ground or whether it was pass catching. You know what I'm saying? The dude single-handedly beat the Vikings by himself through
All
the
right.
air.
All
You
right.
know
So
what I'm
let's
saying?
switch over to the other side. Last week I had a comment, right? And sometimes you gotta maybe admit you're wrong. But let me get your opinion on it. Is it time for us to start saying Brock Purdy is a guy?
I'm so glad you bring this up because I was looking up this stat, right? So I want to counter that question you asked me with a question on my own.
All
You know what I'm
right.
saying? So Brock Purdy has started and played in 6 regular season games, 2 playoff games, right? Of those 8 games he has played in, he's only thrown over 20 passes twice. And in those 2 games, he's thrown over 20 passes. He's turned over the ball twice and he's been sacked multiple times. So, what I'm asking you is is it more Brock Purdy as a talent, or is it more Kyle Shanahan's ability to hide some inefficiencies with the passing game and to put him in position to succeed?
So this is what I'm gonna say, right? If you're that mold of Cal Shanahan, right? Because let's be honest, that team is a death lineup. Let's say they got like Aaron Rodgers this summer or whatever. That team would be a death lineup. It'd be crazy. But when you got a good coach in Cal Shanahan, he can get the best, and he can get the best out of his players by putting them in his system if they're his molded player. Jimmy has strived for years because he's the molded player that Cal needs. But at the same time, this is what I'm gonna say about Brock Purdy. When we saw Trey Lance in that system, Trey Lance didn't look so great. Trey Lance didn't look like he was ready to step up and do the stuff that Brock Purdy is doing right now. So, I mean, yes, he may have only thrown 20 passes over how many times?
Twice.
Twice. He may have thrown 20 passes over
Oh, no,
twice.
no. He's only completed over 20 passes twice.
Oh, he
Completed.
only
My bad. Completed.
okay. So he may have only
I'm
completed.
I'm going. I'm getting somewhere with this. That's why I'm asking this person first.
So I think right now I'm willing to say I was wrong because it still take a good. He still got to be a good quarterback in order to do what he's doing in the system. But with all the talent around him, it kind of makes him. It's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
hard
bro,
to fail.
that's okay. We've talked about this numerous times of the year. It don't take a rocket scientist to run Kyle Shanahan's offense. If your quarterback and physical attributes isn't one of your key, things you're bringing to the field, all you have to do, and Jimmy Garoppolo showed over the years, is just manage the game, take the check downs, make the smart throws, hit the slants when you're supposed to, read the defense, look off the safeties. It's simple. You know what I'm saying? The playmakers will do the rest for you. The amount of yak between Ayuk, Kittle, and Debo, and now CMC at the backfield, you know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of 20, 40-yard passes you got to make, you know what I'm saying, if you're trying to march it down the field. What I was getting at was with him only completing over 20 passes twice this year, right? With them going up against their toughest test to date, if you're looking at it from an offensive standpoint, you know what I'm saying? Because the teams he played the Dolphins with no Tua, the Bucks, Seahawks, Commanders, Raiders, Cardinals, Cowboys, Seahawks. You know what I'm saying? You can make the argument the Cowboys were the best offense they saw. You know what I'm saying? But that Cowboys offense don't even scratch the surface of how deep this Philly team's offense is. You know what I'm saying? You got a dual threat quarterback. You got 2 above average, one great receiver, another above average receiver in Devontae Smith. You got a plethora of backs, a good offensive line, and a stout ass defense. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm asking you is, do you think 19 for 29 completions, 214 yards, no TDs, 2 sacks, and 19 points is going to be enough to beat this Eagles team
So when you look at that, when you're looking
in
at all
Philly.
that stuff, when you look at all that stuff, could it be enough? Yes, because you got to think you're looking at probably the best defense left in this playoffs. San Fran got the best defense in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
but the thing is, look, San Fran has the best defense left in the playoffs. Yes, don't get me wrong. Yes, but they're gonna have to hold Philly under like 24 points, 21 points to give them a shot. Anything above that, if they're asking Brock Purdy to go out there and they gotta, they're getting in a shootout, I would side with Philly more than I would side with Brock Purdy, only because of his inexperience in a level of game like this. Because
Yeah.
that interception or that sack that leads to a fumble that can flip the game on his head. If they're down by 7, he goes out there, throws a pick, and then they go and score again. Now you're down by 14.
All right, so we're
You know what
gonna
I'm
get
saying?
into that.
So you're playing catch up.
Let's talk. Let's finish up on last week's game on the AFC side, right? So on the AFC side, we had Chiefs versus Jags. We got an up and comer, and Trevor Lawrence. He came alive this year. I think
They
Doug.
almost pulled that shit off. They almost
Yeah,
pulled that shit. If Agnew for whatever reason didn't just drop the ball, I've never seen nothing like that in my life. Where a dude catches it, starts to make his break towards the end zone, like the end zone, and the ball just flies out of his hand. I don't know if his mind was on getting hit or what celebration he was gonna do in the end zone or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But like I've never seen nothing like that in my life. But would they have won? I don't know. I don't think they would have won. I don't know. I mean, I love the underdogs. So Pat's had his moments. So I wanted Trevor to ride this as long as he could. But I think the better team won that day. I think the better team prevailed. But I wouldn't sleep on the Jags. You know,
yeah. In
they
the
they they're
future,
they're looking like the AFC's version of the Detroit Lions. No one, they're going to be an underdog in every game they play. But don't be surprised if they knock off some of these giants in the NFL.
look. In the future, as we're looking forward in the future, honestly, they're probably the best team in the what they're in the South, the AFC South. You gotta think the Colts. We don't know what their turnover at quarterback about to look at, right? The Texans,
Suck.
we're never worried about the Texans and the Titans the same.
Titans are going to go through an overhaul.
Yeah,
They
they're
got
going
to.
to. Yeah, they got to. So
Salary cap wise, they have to go through a turnover. Whether that be they start over from scratch or they get real creative with the cap. But I don't think any of those teams can hang with the Jags.
yeah,
You know what I'm
because you
saying?
gotta look
I
at
think
it. What we're looking at.
The Jags have the best defense in that division. It's either the Jags or the it's like right now I'd take the Jags and then it'd be like 2A, 2B with the Titans and the Colts because their defenses are good. But offensive wise, I'd take the Jags every day,
Yeah,
especially with them adding Calvin Ridley next year too.
yeah,
I
that's what I'm
don't I
about to
don't
say.
see a way how they lose that.
We seen this year. This year we seen Christian Kirk actually become a guy. I'm no offense, but maybe Arizona was holding him back a little bit. You know what I mean?
I think so too. It's just the price tag that he
Yeah.
was commanding is just not a lot of teams could have afforded that, you
So
know.
so with Christian Kirk becoming a guy, Zay Jones, he looked like a guy
Yeah,
this year.
that shit came out of nowhere. I didn't see that coming. But yeah, he was an Evan Ingram, bro.
Yeah,
Evan Ingram looked like at times Evan Ingram looked like the best tight end in the AFC. You know what I'm saying? At times, like I mean, he put up some monster numbers. And then once they finally released the reins on ETN and let him go, like ETN was a playmaker, and that defense was full of ballers. You know what I'm saying? They made plays.
So and then Travis Etienne, he looking like a top running back going into next year.
Yeah, he's another dual threat running back. You know what I'm saying? He could do it on the ground if you want to, but where he's most dangerous is out the backfield, catching passes in open space. Letting him get north to south, and making a guy miss. He's not the fastest guy, but he's quick enough to make that first guy miss, you know what I'm saying? And turn 4 yards into 12,
Yeah,
8 into 16. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I was alluding to at Pollard. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like that kind of stuff is invaluable. Where if there's nothing in downfield and you could check it down to this guy, and you can get for sure 6, 7 yards plus. Yeah, that's a luxury a lot of teams don't have. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
So as far as the Jazz are concerned, I wouldn't sleep on them going into the future. But same old Chiefs. I feel like we ain't really gotta get too deep into it. But
Yeah, that was the
so
perfect. That was Pat's flu game right there. That
yeah,
was Pat's flu game. Because really, I thought he was done when
yeah,
he rolled on his ankle. I was like, damn, dude, that
that
looks
that,
bad.
that could have been so much worse.
That could have. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, I feel like that stuff only happens to like non like superstars like that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I feel like that stuff happens to like everybody else, but like guys like Tom, Pat. You
yeah,
know, like that happens to anybody else. It's
yeah.
a high ankle sprain and they're done. They're out. You know what I'm saying? But Pat's a warrior, bro. Pat was
Yeah.
like, because
Something
I
like
don't
that.
think they. I think if they would have rolled with Chad Henne the rest of that game, because there's too much game left.
Yeah.
If they were in control of the game, there's like a quarter or two left. I think they would have been like, all right, if we need you, we'll bring you back in, but we're gonna roll with Henne.
I'm not gonna
It's
lie.
just too much game
Ch-
left.
Chad has proven to be a valuable backup over the past few years. So I don't know. I ain't gonna say that they would have
I don't
lost.
know, bro. He almost threw two picks. He had one that was
Yeah.
tipped, and then he had another one that he got bailed out by, you know. And I think that's why they were like, all right, we got to get Pat back in there if he can
So
go.
so this is
You know
the
what I'm saying?
question I have for you. Do you feel like the Chiefs are missing Tyreek now?
Um,
I mean, they're winning, but still.
when you have a quarterback like that, you know what I'm saying? Because he's not just exceptional in his own right. He elevates the talent around him, and he doesn't have to just hone in on one guy to get it done. I think in Pat Mahomes' case, right there, it doesn't really matter who you put with him. They're gonna play at an extremely high level and possible and exceed their own capabilities. Tyreek was just a luxury. Does he miss being able to just throw it downfield and Tyreek be somewhere like he said? Yeah, I mean anyone. A talent like Tyreek Hill, there's not a team in the league that could say they wouldn't want that. You know what I'm saying? That's that's a special attribute very few people have in this league. And yeah, they're missing that. But they've tried to replicate it with a collection of guys, with Juju, with his, catching ability, MVS with his speed, Mecole. I mean, we've been waiting on Mecole Harmon since I feel like since I was like 21. You know what I'm saying? We've waited on him for like 5 years now, you know. But I mean, they're getting it done as a collective unit.
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey, the Pacheco and McKinnon in the backfield. But like I said, I mean, you put anybody else in there, those guys look regular. You know, they're just regular. But with someone with Pat Mahomes, you know what I'm saying? He could put the ball in places where others can't, you know, and he just elevates everyone around you. And with the aura of playing for the Chiefs and everything that comes with it, you're gonna try a little bit harder, you know, to get open and make plays. So
Oh,
I
let me
think
ask.
go ahead.
So let's go on. Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. I feel like Pat's gonna give us Pat things, but there's one game that I want to get into, and I can't wait no longer. We gotta talk about this Bengals Bills game and our man Howard. Which hopefully Howard, I know you're on your sabbatical right now. Hey man, do what you need to do to get back right. But I told this man last week that the Bengals will win this game. So
I
what you
wasn't even I wasn't even trying to bet against my man. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even trying to, root against one like that. I was just looking at it from the perspective of like I already know how this is gonna end. This is I don't know, bro. Joe Shiesty, bro. He a different animal because if they wanted to grind it out, you know what I'm saying, and make it one of those games, the Bengals is all for that. If they want to get into a shootout, the Bengals by far have the ability to do that. Because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, all right, they gang up on Jamar Chase. They take Jamar Chase away. We've seen that movie before. T. Higgins is gonna go for 11, 185, and two TDs. You know what I'm saying? There's no way you stop both of them. And then you got Tyler Boyd, in the slot, moving the chains, and then Hayden Hurst, that's a big white boy. You know what I'm saying? Moving the chains. If there's some kind of way you can suppress the ability for them to be efficient through the air, you still have a Pro Bowl running back you're handing the ball off to. You know what I'm
And then
saying?
Samaji
So
Piron ain't no
Perine
hoe.
ain't no, yeah, Samaje Perine ain't no hoe either. He's one of the better backup running backs in the league. So I was just like, offensively, they're gonna have to score. You know, they got the game where they wanted it. They wanted it in Buffalo. They had the roster they wanted. You
They
know what I'm
got the
saying?
snow.
They got the snow. They got everything. But like I said, it gets cold in Cincinnati too. It snows in Cincinnati. It may not be, Santa's winter wonderland like that, but it snows. Cold is cold. Last time I checked, you
Facts.
know. So it's not really a factor when you're going up against a team that plays in the snow, rather than if you're playing a team that plays in a dome in South Florida or something like that. That might be a factor. But the Bills, honestly, they didn't even deserve to be there. If you want to be completely honest, they didn't deserve to be there because like the week before that, they almost lost to Skylar Thompson. You know what I'm saying, in the Miami Dolphins.
But
If Skylar Thompson could have took it when they were up by 5, I think it was, and he threw that pick in his own territory, that's when the game flipped on its head because they were in control of it. They were getting 3 and outs, stopping the Bills, holding them to field goals and all that jazz. You know what I'm saying? The Bills easily could have went home in the first round.
so
Well,
yes,
whatever,
you're absolutely correct.
easily.
But the same could be said about Cincinnati. And that
But that's different though. Like same thing with the Bills. That was a divisional game. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Division games, I don't care who you're playing, how much better you think you are, all that sort of that. Divisional games are always tough. Teams go all out for that because you see that team twice a year. You got a lot of film, everything on that. You know what I'm saying? So divisional games are tough. Anybody in that AFC North is gonna fight you tooth and nail into the death. You know what I'm saying? To the final whistle. That's fine. That's totally fine. You know what I'm saying? Bengals, Ravens, that was a tough game. If Lamar was out there, who knows? They might have even pulled it off. But that ain't what happened. Same thing with the Bills. A win is a win.
Yeah, facts. So
But
when
when
I'm looking at this game, I'm like, yo, even though at one point it was 17-10, that game never seemed close. That game, like, yo, before the season and all that, we were talking Josh Allen. And yo, I think sometimes what happens is we get caught up into like our fantasy teams and all this stuff. So we like to overlook certain people, and we're like, yo, Josh
yeah,
Allen is the guy. Yo, he is the guy
a
because
lot of a lot of the takes that we take and a lot of our fondness and likeliness towards some of these players are based on what they can do for us fantasy wise.
yes,
You know what I'm saying? Like Tyler Boyd in real life is a great player, is an
yeah,
excellent receiver, maybe even a Pro Bowl slot receiver somewhere else other than Cincinnati. But fantasy wise, you know what I'm saying? He's just a lineup filler because he don't see enough work. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But real life, this guy is amazing. Before them two dudes showed up, I mean, he was their go-to guy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So
He's a
like,
1,000-yard receiver.
with that
So
being said,
fantasy
like,
does cloud a lot of your judgment when it comes to that.
yeah, with that
Josh
being
Allen,
said, Josh Allen,
fantasy
number
wise,
one quarterback last 4 years.
Josh Allen, fantasy wise, is a monster. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? No hands, no questions about it. Real life, he's a monster too. But like what I said about Pat, about elevating the talent that's around him, or like that, I think Josh Allen has the ability to elevate the talent around him. And there's times when guys are overplaying their outplaying their ability, you know what I'm saying, looking really great when he's on. But there's times when Josh Allen, I feel like he looks at the scoreboard and he sees it and he's like, I'm not doing enough. And he takes it into his own hands and he tries to do too much. And that's where he starts putting himself in dangerous situations because he was getting cracked that
facts.
game. He was getting cracked. And I know that. I don't know if you've ever been hit in the snow or slammed your finger in the door in the snow or tripped or something. It hurts a lot more when it's
Yeah,
cold. It feels like it's bone on bone. You know what I'm saying? So I know those hits hurt. You know what I'm saying? And that hit he took before the half when he ran, I think it was Mike Hilton, like boomed his ass. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that one kind of got him like thinking twice about running. At least like in the pocket, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
like on the QB power or whatever like that. That's where he started going to the sideline again. But also I mean, it can't make too many excuses because his first like 6 completions were passes at guys' feet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He had Diggs wide open numerous times and threw it at his feet. You know what I'm saying? Gabe Davis wide open over the middle and he threw it at his feet. There's a lot of drop passes, but I mean,
But you're in
I just don't
Buffalo.
think he. I don't think he gets enough. I don't think he got enough people involved that day. You know, There was way too many 3-and-outs, but I mean that Bengals defense, they wanted it more.
Yeah,
They
they
controlled the
and the thing
offensive
is,
line.
when it was
They
leaving his
controlled the
hand,
D
they
line.
touched him. They kept touching him. There was not a play where like it wasn't dirty, but they were touching him. They made sure to touch him because Josh Allen wants to be Superman. He wants to be Superman. He's basically he's the modern day like in the generation before this Cam, and the generation before that Big Ben. He's the
Yeah.
modern day them where he wanted to take it in his hands. He don't mind taking 2, 3 hits,
Yeah,
but
but the
at the
Bengals,
same
they I
time,
mean, like you said, they played that to a T. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna
yeah,
stand in here, they made it very clear from the jump. You know, that first drive, they set the tone. If you gonna stand in here in this pocket and throw it, whether we get you or not, we're gonna hit you regardless.
yeah, they're gonna
You're gonna
touch
still
you.
get hit. If you step outside the pocket and run, you're gonna get a couple yards, but we're gonna hit you with everything we got. And
Yeah,
that's what they did. It was played perfectly. They disguised their blitzes. They blitzed the slot corners. They played it well. And so Josh Allen, every time at the line, I mean, he didn't know where it was coming from. You know what I'm saying? So I think in the back of his head as the game was going on, he was getting hit more and more. If he had too much time in the pocket, he's rushing his throw when he didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? If he felt like he had time, that's when he was getting cracked. So it kept him on, it kept him honest. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like even if this game got into a shootout, it favors the Bengals because they can play fast. You know what I'm saying? They can they what did they score? That first drive they scored in like 2 minutes, 3 minutes,
yeah.
7, 8 yards in like 3 minutes or something like that. They marched it right down the field. They mixed in the run, and I think that's another deciding factor is the Bengals kept the defense honest. They didn't just go out there and just throw, 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 throw. Mixon did his thing on the ground. You know what I'm saying? That's a facet of the game the Bills have yet to explore with outside of Josh Allen. Because if you're only gonna run with your quarterback, you know what I'm saying? You're just gonna expect pass every time.
I got 2 questions for you right now. Right. The first question is just a little, just a little fun. Let me ask you a question, man. There's a man that plays on that Bengals defense that went to the Ohio State, but he never get enough love. And that
You
man
talking about
name is
Eli?
Eli Apple.
You talking about Eli?
Eli.
Eli was on Diggs' ass that day.
Why
Eli
Eli
was
don't get the
look,
love? Is it just because he
look, all
talked
right,
a
so
lot of
look.
shit?
Eli, he talked that ish, right? And Eli gets burnt a lot.
Yeah, he do.
But
He
when you
do.
need a play made, he is always somewhere in the mix. Always somewhere in the mix. Last year, made the game-winning play for them to go to the Super Bowl. Smack that ball right out of Tyreek's hands. You know what I'm saying? He is always somewhere in the mix. And it's dudes like that you can go 18 weeks through, like, damn, God, dude. You know what I'm saying? You can have a lot of scratching moments, but when the lights are the brightest, they show up. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So it offsets.
man, Eli Apple. Yeah, he doing. You're right. Whenever the lights shine, but
When the
all
lights
right.
are bright, bro. That's
So now back kind of like to where we were talking about, how we like to rank people based off fantasy, but let's not rank these quarterbacks off fantasy. Let's rank them off real life. I need your top 5 quarterbacks in order
in order right now.
in the league right now.
I still gotta go with Pat Mahomes until proven otherwise. I gotta go with
Okay.
Pat right now. It's just I mean, dude's a he's a baller, bro. If LeBron James played football, he'd probably be like Pat Mahomes, dude. Like I would play with Pat Mahomes any Sunday. You know what
All
I'm
right.
saying?
So Pat Mahomes number one.
Number two, this one is, I mean, this is like by the slight, like by like I'm splitting hairs here. You know what I'm saying? I'm splitting hairs here. I'm gonna go Josh Allen only because I know, I know Joe Shiesty, all that stuff, and everything. I'm gonna go Josh just based on his ability, his
Okay.
ability. You know what I'm saying? Josh can roll out to the side, sling it 80 yards down the field. That is hard to find. But by like the slimmest, this is the tightest I got of all of them in the five. I'm
Hey
gonna go
man, this is
Josh.
your top 5. This ain't the
Yeah,
same.
it's like a 2A 2B with Josh and Joe Burrow. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
but you said Josh.
Four, I'm gonna go Josh. Four, when healthy, I'm gonna throw Lamar right there. And then five, he made a lot of strides this offseason. I'm gonna go Jalen Hurts.
All right.
We'll take
So
Jalen Hurts.
so number one, I'll go Pat. We're obviously gonna you gotta go Pat until proven otherwise.
Until
It's
proven
fine.
otherwise, yeah.
So number two, I'm going Joe Burrow.
I
I
feel
I
you
get
on that. It
I get
makes
what you're
sense. I feel you.
saying. I get what you're saying about the rollout, but Joe Burrow can do all that stuff. He just don't do it. He just don't do it with the pizzazz of a Josh Allen. So like people like I don't know. It's up to you. Number three, then I'll probably go Josh Allen right there. Four, we agreed there with Lamar. And five, it's hard because it's like
This fifth one is extremely hard because I would love to say like Rogers number 5 or something like that.
I wouldn't even say Rodgers. So this is where I struggle at because I got Hurts, I got Herbert, but Herbert not a playoff guy yet, and then I got Trevor Lawrence.
Mm.
So it's kind of hard where I'll rank them. I mean, I'm gonna say Trevor Lawrence because Trevor Lawrence can
Trevor.
make every throw.
I
He
think I think I think down the line, I mean, there could be some shifting around in there, and Trevor Lawrence will find himself in the top 5. It's just Jalen Hurts put together an MVP season,
yeah
and and I mean, he can ball, bro. He can he was hooping, not hooping. I mean, he was balling. He was balling before he. If he didn't get hurt, those last couple games was in the season, the MVP would have been his to lose. Because
fact
there's no way you can say Jalen Hurts didn't deserve at least to be in that top 2, and he
yeah.
not to. You know what I'm saying, between him and Pat. But I think Pat probably got this one locked up
All
this
right,
year.
definitely. Let's get into the games this week. Now we got Eagles versus 49ers. What you thinking?
I'm going Eagles with this one. It's in Philly. It's cold. They healthy. And for everything that I like about the 49ers, the Eagles got the same thing going on. So this probably gonna be the most competitive game. I wouldn't even be surprised if it's low scoring, just based on how well these defenses as a collective unit play. And it might even come down to a field goal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this though, whoever can limit turnovers, that's who will win. Because these turnovers are going to be detrimental. Every turnover you make is going to equate to points, especially if it's in your own territory. So that's what this game is going to come down to. This
So
one's more of a coin flip than it is, but I'm a side with the home team, and I like the Eagles.
give me a score.
Like honestly, it could be like 7-14, 17-10, or something like. I mean, 17-14, 17-10. You know what
So
I'm saying?
14, 17, 10.
Yeah, it'll be within a
Touchdown
touchdown.
game.
I think it'd be a touchdown game. I
Uh,
could be wrong, and somebody could blow the other one out, but as well as these teams' defenses play, and I'm emphasizing defense because the defense can showed with the Jags, their defense was able to hold back the Chargers long enough for them to mount a comeback.
yeah.
So, as well as defenses plays, this game is never going to be over. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
I'm definitely alongside you. I'm going Eagles. This is just over the years, this has just became typical 49ers. This just became their typical way of going out. They make it all the way to the championship game and they just don't get it done. I feel
Yeah,
like
and I think a shootout favors the Eagles
yeah,
more too.
I think you got way more dynamic quarterback in Jalen Hurts. That's going to be able to get outside the pocket. You got the most physical receiver in the game right now in AJ Brown. You know, Goddard, a great tight end in the game
I
right now.
forgot about Goddard. Yeah, Goddard.
So you got a lot of things, and that offensive line is nice for the Eagles. So right now, I feel like this is we've been saying this for weeks that Brock Purdy is going to finally make these mistakes, but I feel like in this game, the ball hawking defense that they got, that the Eagles guys going to be able to get 1 or 2 interceptions, which would favor the Eagles. The turnover battle. Me personally, I'm going Eagles 31-21. We're
I can
gonna
see
go
that happening.
31-21 Eagles. All right, let's get into the other side. We got Bengals versus Chiefs. What you thinking here?
Man, you're calling Arrowhead Stadium, they calling it Burrowhead Stadium. You know what I'm saying? If there was ever a time to catch the Bengals lacking, it'd be this week because everybody and their moms is on the Bengals. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is on the Bengals. They calling it Burrowhead, all this stuff like that. If there's ever a time for the Chiefs to catch them lacking, it'd be this week, especially with Pat not be. It's the perfect story, and I feel like the NFL wants this too, because it's the perfect story. Pat high ankle sprain, got that dog in him, playing through it against the odds, going up against a more complete defense, a high powered offense. I'm gonna go with Kansas City only because I think Pat they get their get back this week. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't the as talented of as an offense as they had last year, but I think this is where you catch them lacking possibly. I could be completely wrong, and the Bengals go out there and blow them out again. But the past two games they've played, it's been the games have only been decided by like I think 3 points or something like that. Yeah, when they played them, yeah, 24-27 earlier this season. Last year it was 31-34 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? A field goal. I
So,
just I
so
I
what score you got?
I got the same thing again. I got 37-34 or 27-21. You know, it'll be a touchdown game. It'll be close again. But I think the Chiefs as the underdogs, because how many times has the Chiefs been the underdogs at Arrowhead? You know what I'm saying? How many times have you ever heard that before? Not a lot.
Look, man, I'm going with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is going to beat them. And the thing is, that Chief defense right now is kind of like bend, don't break. But
Yeah,
when you got the weapons that Cincinnati got, yo, they're about to break everything. I feel like this game is a bad game. I feel like if Pat was completely healthy, I feel like if Pat could move like he want to, but that defense that we saw last week, and the Bills ain't just got no terrible offensive line. It ain't the best. It ain't one of the best, but it ain't just terrible. And the
true.
fact that Henderson, uh, BJ, and all them boys, they were just getting through. I feel like, yo, this is not about to be a good game for Pat. I feel like, with Pat, you can never count him out. I feel like the heroics gonna come in towards the end, but I feel like it's just not gonna be enough. Yo, I'm going a 2 touchdown game. I'm going 35-21, Joe
This
Burrow.
is this is this is why I think the Chiefs could pull this one off, right? It's gonna come down to because both teams can score on each other's defense. The Bengals defense look great and all, but they're not impenetrable. You know what I'm saying? This game's gonna come down to who can get stops in the red zone because the Bengals can march down the field, but if the Chiefs can find a way to hold them to field goals, which I think both teams will probably go for it. If it's anything 4th and 5 below, both teams are going to go for it because you're not going to beat the other one with field goals. But if they can find a way to hold them to field goals in the red zone, you know what I'm saying, or get turnovers in the red zone, or get a turnover on down, something, that's going to be their key to winning this game. If they let them go down there and score every single drive, then they don't have a chance in hell of beating them. That's
So
my angle on it. Is if they can get stops in the red zone, because the Bengals are going to get there. You know what I'm saying? You might not see a lot of punting in this game. You know what I'm saying?
if
But if they
anything,
can get stops in the red zone, flip the game on its head and march down and scratch, 3 points or seven, some kind of way. That or they get turnovers on defense. But I don't, outside of Chris Jones, they don't got really a lot of playmakers in that secondary. It's more like you said, like a bend don't break kind of defense. But this ain't the offense to be going up against to be bending in any way, shape, or form.
yeah, you're looking at
That bend can turn from bend don't break to hold on and don't snap. You know what I'm
look,
saying?
look. I wish Pat was healthy. I want to see if Pat come in healthy. Whatever, they're probably gonna shoot the ankle up. But if Pat mobility from what I saw last week is similar to that, where he could barely get his whole body around to throw the ball and all that, this is not going to be a good game. because it's going to get out of hand.
Well, the thing is, they got to play fast though. They got to play quick. You know what I'm saying? He can't sit in the pocket for 2 seconds, 3 seconds. It's got to be that West Coast offense. They got to be motioning, moving the ball. Let your receivers make plays with their legs. You know what I'm saying?
And Kelsey looking great. All them looking great. But to me, where I don't have the faith in him, and I do have faith in that running back. Isaiah Pacheco looking really good. He looking really good. But that front four of the Bengals is a really good front four, and I don't know if that.
Yeah, DJ Reader, Sam Hubbard, Hendrickson, and they got the little rotational pieces coming in there. It's a tough D line, and the secondary ain't that bad either. You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, we'll see.
But we've seen Pat stacked up against the odds worse than this and pull it out. So
definitely. So right now, everybody, K-Wall's Super Bowl is the Eagles versus the Chiefs. My Super Bowl is the Eagles versus the Bengals. I mean, I guess we'll see what will happen. But I mean, K-Wall, another great show. Howard, man, I hope you're doing well, man. I understand your team.
You better have a hat trick or some shit going on today. Yeah, you better get a hat trick,
But I understand your team lost. Hopefully we'll see you back next week. There's been another great episode. There's been the Stay Inbound podcast, the sports podcast of the people. Follow us on TikTok. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. And it's been Stay Inbound. Good night, everybody.
This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome in to Stay Inbound, the sports podcast of the people. I'm your host, Khari P. Here along with
The fuck?